Hello everyone, welcome to Liberal Tarot. I'm Sherry, a blue dot in a red state, utilizing Tarot to offer insight into these very interesting times we've got going on here in the United States. So I'm really glad that you're here and welcome. I'd also like to give a special shout out and welcome to all the new viewers and subscribers. I really appreciate it. I had a couple of those videos just really take off. And some of them were like posted a little while ago, so I was really surprised by that. But I'm glad that you found me. I'm glad that you're here and welcome. What I'm going to do today is that this is the September energy reading, okay? And what I do is I take each week and I just put the cards out and I'm reading the energy for that week. Hold on one second. Let me pause this just for a second. Okay, sorry about that. I had to pause that real quick. I have 5 cats. The cat distribution system has blessed us with 5 cats, 3 of which are tabbies. And one of them, I've got a box here that he likes to sleep in, like right next to me, so he'll kind of stay out of my space here. But he gets in there and he starts scratching and clawing on that, on the cardboard, and it's really loud, so I wanted to save you from that. And like, what is that noise? That would be my cat, one of my cats. So what I was saying about the September energy readings, what I do is I will just put cards out and I do it, by the week, and I'm just reading on the energy. Like, I have no idea what the event is. So I will put it into an event, like kind of, for the narrative, but I always say, it's probably going to be something else, but the energy is going to be there. Okay. And that is really what we saw in August. We saw that I said, like, those first 3 weeks it was going to be a pressure cooker, and it was going to be around the Epstein files. Now, I did think that the Epstein files would have been released by now. However, what we got from the Epstein files was like, we all know it wasn't a whole lot. But that last week was going to be like the calm after the storm, like, and we did. We got a little bit of a reprieve from Trump that last week, this past week, and then we had just that pure joy that we felt building up, to Saturday. And I mean, Saturday was just peak. It was wonderful and glorious. The other, and I don't want you guys to be discouraged because he didn't die, but rather hold on to that feeling of joy, because that is where, that's where we're going to stay, that we're going to try to stay. Let me say, I understand that it is an absolute shit show out there. I get it. I mean, we went to the grocery store and I about fell over whenever I saw the price of beef. I was like, holy crap, are you kidding me? Okay, I get it. Okay, not joyful about that, but staying in that joy the best that we can moving forward, and knowing that you got to feel what the intuitives have been feeling for months. And I think that on the flip side of that, you also get to feel the frustration of like, why hasn't it happened yet? It's going to happen. We just got to hang in there. Okay. So, yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I want to go over. I don't think there is. So I'm going to jump right into the September energy reading, starting with the first week, which is the week that we're in right now. Okay. As always, this is for entertainment purposes only. Energy reading for the first week of September. What is it that we can expect for this first week of September? What is it that we can expect? Okay, and the deck I'm using today is the Robin Hood deck. Okay, the Here and Now, the Hanged Man, and we wait. Boy, we were doing that yesterday, waiting for that press conference that started, like, I mean, how late did it start? And then they just droned on forever. And then they took questions. It was like, oh. So anyway, we wait. Okay, that's state of suspension. This is also not having a leg to stand on. Okay, not having, this is not standing, strong and stable. Okay, so also hanged man, waiting. State of suspension. The challenge is victory. Now this is coming up as the challenge. So there's something that we're waiting on, and the challenge is victory. The challenge is we're waiting for, something to happen there in the White House, in the Oval Office. The energy coming in is the Justice card. Okay. I'm going to pull these down so you guys can see. And the foundation is something coming to an end. That's the foundation of this. Recent past is going to be, this is the Knight of Swords. And I always see this as just kind of like racing off to battle and not really thinking things through, not having a real solid plan, rash decisions. That's going to be all that's right there. And then the outcome is something being offered, something of substance. But this is also, the pages are not, they're not the decision makers. They're like, lower management. Okay. That's kind of, if that, like maybe, like, it's not somebody who's in a position of power who really can offer something, but yet something is being offered. Okay, so that I'll put all this in context of the other cards that came out. So let me just kind of take a minute and look at this. So for September, this first week, we're waiting, victory, something that we thought was done, racing. I wonder if this isn't like the Epstein files don't pick up speed. Oh, it is. This is the Epstein. Those I just remembered. The victims are expected to be speaking. That's what this is. This is the Epstein files. They want to put it to rest. They want to, like they're doing everything, they've done everything they could to try to put it to rest, to distract, to do anything else. I mean, the House even like left for the entire month of August, rash decisions, like just go home, trying to put this to rest. The challenge is it's not going away. This is, we can't, the challenge of the victory, justice for the victims, and that they're going to be having testimony. That's what that is. And that everybody's going to hear from the, it seemed like there were quite a few victims that were going to be speaking. So I'm going to say that this is going to be I'm going to see what the outcome is of this testimony that we're going to be having. What is the outcome of the testimony? The pages, these are, they're going to discuss what happened to them when they were children and the absolute, the abuse that they endured when they were children and seeking. It's like, this is looking out, ships coming in, communications. I'm feeling like this, that they want their stories told. They want their stories heard. And that this is like telling the world the communications of what they went through and endured, really at the hands of Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, and Donald Trump. I know several of them have sworn testimony under oath, depositions, whatever you want to call that they have named him. And so they want that truth to be heard. They want their truth and their story to be told to the world. That's what that is. So that's going to be kind of taking up the time from for the first week of September. Let me just ask, what will there be fallout from this? Fallout. The Wheel of Fortune, I read this as karma's a bitch. They're trying to hold on to political power, and the drunk on power. So yeah, I think that the Republicans have never been known to have any empathy when it comes to women coming forward with their stories of abuse at the hands of these maggot Republicans. And so they're going to be, this is such a, it's like a tinderbox. That's what I'm feeling. It's such a tinderbox type of story that they actually are going to somewhat proceed delicately, but some of them have the delicacy of a bull in a china shop. Okay, that's what I'm feeling with that, especially that drunk on power. And then I just realized the abuse that these that these women went through when they were children at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Donald Trump. Okay, that that definitely shows in that card right there. So yeah, I'm going to say that now for the rest of the week, Epstein files coming back to the forefront, especially with that testimony. Okay, where am I at on time? Okay. The second week of September, the week of September 8th. Okay, week of September 8th. What can we expect in the United States the week of September 8th? Okay, and with that, feeling left out in the cold. I've also seen this as the election interference, election fraud, like our votes not being counted. Okay, so whatever's coming up the week of the 8th, this is the feeling left out in the cold card. And the challenge of that is messages, pages. Typically, this has been my yes card. It's just my yes card. However, with MAGA, I've been having to kind of, revisit the meaning of that. So the challenge with this is going to be the messages, the emotional messages. Okay. Challenge of emotional messaging, feeling left out in the cold, coming in, happy home. Karma, that's coming up again. I'm wondering if this still isn't the Epstein files and the continued fallout from the testimony that we're getting ready to hear tomorrow. Laying in a state of rest, something that the people involved, Trump really wants to put this to rest. That's the feeling. It's like karma's a bitch. I want to put it to rest. He doesn't want to be held accountable. That's what that is. And this is going to be the messaging and also hesitation. I still get the feeling of like delicate messaging, but that they've got the delicacy of the of a bull in a china shop. Okay, I just don't know how well that's gonna go. The victims are gonna be. It's like their message of what happened to them as children, and I'm also getting the feeling of like what was stolen from their childhood, especially with this. Their hopes and dreams. It was like they were Ghislaine Maxwell, by all accounts, and also what was entered into record. There in her trial is what she promised them, and then what happened, which was they were sex trafficked instead of what she was promising them, all kinds of things. So that is kind of the feeling I'm getting from those three cards. Okay, so I think that week 8 is still going to be, the Epstein files are not going away, and that there's going to be continued fallout of that of the testimony. Okay. I'm trying to see here. Okay, let me, I want to be real careful of time because I know that these energy readings can go kind of long. And so I don't want to get too long in this one. So with the first week, I think what we've had, the Trump health event, whatever we want to do with that, whatever we want to call that. What's going to be happening now is the Epstein files. He was able to stop the Epstein talk for, a few days, but it's going to come right back to the Epstein files. I think that we're going to have that testimony that's going to be, I think it's on Wednesday, the 3rd that starts. And I think we're going to continue to have more of that the week of the 8th. I'm getting real strong Epstein feelings from that. And it's because of those pages. And pages represent younger people, more, like inexperienced people, novice, that kind of thing. And with them being on Capitol Hill now and doing their interview, they're talking with congressional members on Tuesday, the testimony starts on Wednesday. I'm not sure how long that's going to go for, but I think that by the second week, I've got the dates written down here. The week of the 8th, we're going to still be talking and hearing about that. Okay. So that's what I get for the first 2 weeks of September. I am going to divide this into two. So the next reading that you see for September energy reading will be the next 2 weeks and the final message. So I really appreciate you joining me. I think I'm going to put, I'll put the August readings up here. There's 2 of them. I broke them into 2. So I'm going to put both of those up here so that you can check those out and subscribe, like, share, all that great stuff. Thank you very much, and I will catch you on the next reading. Have a good day.